Imagine this. You hear a sudden loud noise, your heart races, palms sweat, and your body tenses up. Even though you're safe, your body reacts as though you're in danger. This could just be a one-off reaction. But for many trauma survivors, these overwhelming responses occur regularly, triggered by even the slightest reminders of a past event. It's an exhausting cycle, both mentally and physically. If you've experienced this or know someone who has, you're not alone. Trauma doesn't just live in our memories, it sticks with us, both in our minds and bodies. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk's groundbreaking book, The Body Keeps the Score, sheds light on this silent but powerful presence of trauma and offers practical steps to heal and reclaim your life. Today, we'll explore the key lessons from this book. Whether you're someone dealing with trauma, a mental health enthusiast, or simply curious about how the mind and body interconnect, this video will guide you through the most impactful takeaways from this insightful book. 1. Trauma changes the brain. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk is a renowned psychiatrist specializing in trauma and its effects on the mind and body. He earned his medical degree from the University of Chicago and completed his psychiatry residency at Harvard Medical School. Compassionate about the links between neuroscience, psychology, and trauma therapy, Dr. van der Kolk has made significant contributions through research and practice, establishing himself as a leading voice in trauma studies and healing. One of the core messages of his book, The Body Keeps the Score, is how trauma can physically change your brain. Trauma isn't just an emotional memory, it actually rewires your brain. When someone experiences a traumatic event like abuse or the passing of a loved one, areas of the brain responsible for rational thinking, like the prefrontal cortex, are disrupted. Meanwhile, the amygdala, the front part of our brain that triggers fear and survival instincts, goes into overdrive. This puts people on high alert, constantly on edge and ready for danger, even when there's nothing to worry about. For example, imagine trying to take a relaxing walk in the park, but instead of enjoying nature and the sound of the birds, you constantly feel on edge, analyzing every sound or passing person for danger. That's the result of your brain being stuck in survival mode. This is not a personal weakness, it's simply biology. Understanding this is step 1 to healing. 2. Trauma lives in the body. The title of the book, The Body Keeps the Score, highlights a crucial insight. Not all trauma resides in your conscious mind. Much of it is actually stored in your body. This is tied to the concept of somatic memory, which refers to the way traumatic experiences are remembered, through physical sensations like muscle tension, chronic pain, or fatigue. These physical cues may feel random, but they are often your body's way of holding on to and expressing unresolved stress. For example, someone who endured a traumatic event might experience tightness in their chest or recurring migraines without understanding the root cause. Even if the mind has buried the memory, the body continues to react as though the event is happening in real time. This explains why trauma survivors frequently face unexplained health issues, chronic pain, or even digestive problems. These physical symptoms are their body's way of reliving the stress, often without conscious awareness. Understanding this mind-body connection is essential for healing. Trauma isn't just a mental or emotional experience, it's a physical one too. True recovery involves treating the body with the same care as the mind, learning to listen to its signals, and addressing the stored pain in ways that promote both physical and emotional health. Awareness of this connection is the first step toward breaking the cycle. This brings us to the next lesson. 3. Talk therapy is not always enough. While traditional talk therapy can be effective, it often focuses too much on the mind and not enough on the body. Trauma often goes beyond words. That's why so many people struggle to put their experiences into words. Relying solely on talking isn't enough to resolve deeply ingrained trauma. After all, how do you put into words something your body has internalized, but your mind may not fully remember? This is where alternative therapies like somatic experiencing, EMDR therapy, or yoga come into play. These therapies work to tap into the body's stored experiences, helping you not just talk your way through trauma, but actually feel your way out of it. For example, with somatic experiencing, you learn to identify and release physical sensations associated with trauma. Alternatively, EMDR therapy uses eye movements or other forms of bilateral stimulation to help the mind reprocess traumatic memories. And yoga combines movement, mindfulness, and breath work to release tension and promote healing in both the body and mind. 4. Relationships are key to healing. Trauma isolates. It can convince you that you're alone and that no one understands your pain. But the opposite is the case. Healing is actually rooted in relationships. Supportive, trusting relationships provides a safe space where you can begin to rebuild a sense of security, whether it's a compassionate therapist, a close friend, or a family member. Connecting with someone can really make a big difference in the healing process. Trauma often damages one's ability to trust others. A major part of recovery is gradually allowing yourself to be vulnerable and rebuild those connections. 5. Mindfulness and body awareness. Mindfulness is increasingly being recognized for its therapeutic benefits, and Dr. Kolk strongly advocates for its role in healing trauma. Mindfulness helps bridge the disconnect between the brain and body, which is a common effect of trauma. Through practices like deep breathing, meditation, or attentive physical activities like yoga, mindfulness can rewire your brain. It teaches you to respond to stress with awareness, rather than instant survival-based reactions. For instance, if a sudden noise catches you off guard, mindfulness helps you take a moment, acknowledge your reaction, and remind yourself that you're safe. And with every next time something like this occurs, your response becomes less intense. This way, you can effectively regain control over your emotions. The book shares an anecdote of a veteran suffering from debilitating PTSD. Despite years of struggling with intense flashbacks and detachment, he discovered the power of practices like yoga and mindfulness meditation. These tools helped him connect with his body in a safe and controlled way, eventually allowing him to feel more present and grounded in his daily life. This example underscores the importance of integrating both physical and mental practices in trauma recovery. 6. Creativity as a path to recovery. Healing doesn't have to come from traditional therapy alone. Take time to explore how creative outlets such as art, music, and writing can help process your trauma in deeper, nonverbal ways. Here's an example from the book of a young girl who struggled to articulate her trauma. After years of being unable to express her pain verbally, drawing and painting became her way of processing emotions she couldn't yet put into words. This story beautifully illustrates how finding the right outlet can help trauma survivors begin their healing journey, even when traditional methods feel unattainable. Through creative expression, she communicated what words couldn't capture, ultimately leading to significant breakthroughs in her healing process. Creativity transcends logic and activates parts of the brain that are otherwise hard to reach through rational thought. This makes creativity a powerful tool in addressing and healing from trauma. 7. No one size fits all. When it comes to treating trauma, there's no one size fits all solution. What works wonders for one person might not be effective for another, and that's okay. Trauma impacts individuals in deeply personal ways, and recovery should reflect that uniqueness. For instance, some people might find significant relief through EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy, which helps process and reframe traumatic memories. Others might gravitate toward somatic practices like yoga, tai chi, or mindfulness meditation, which focus on connecting the mind and body to release stored tension. Some individuals thrive in group therapy or through building strong, supportive relationships, where they feel seen and understood by others with similar experiences. On the other hand, others may prefer a more introspective solo path, working one-on-one with a therapist or exploring personal healing through journaling or art. The key is understanding that trauma is deeply personal, and so is the journey toward healing. It's extremely important to explore different methods and discover what resonates with your unique experience, allowing you to find a path that feels right for your body, mind, and soul. Recovery is not linear, but with patience and self-compassion, it is possible. 8. The power of resilience. Lastly, the body keeps the score reminds us of the incredible resilience of the human spirit. While trauma can feel overpowering, the story doesn't have to end there. People can and do recover. Take, for example, survivors of the Holocaust who suffered unimaginable trauma, but managed to rebuild their lives and find meaning afterwards. This is not to say that recovery is easy or quick, but rather it is possible. The human survival instinct is strong, and it's important to remember that even in the darkest of times, by acknowledging this resilience, you can tap into your own inner strength and begin the journey towards healing. Well, there you have it, guys. An in-depth summary of the incredibly inspiring book, The Body Keeps the Score. This book is not just for trauma survivors, but for anyone interested in the profound connection between the mind and body. It teaches us that healing isn't just about getting over it. It's about understanding, processing, and integrating our experiences in a way that allows us to move forward. If you found these lessons insightful and want more thought-provoking content like this, be sure to subscribe to this channel. And if you're ready to be vulnerable and build connections, leave a comment below, sharing your thoughts or personal experiences with overcoming trauma. Together, we can build a supportive community of learning and growth. Well, that's it, guys. See you in the next one.